Okay, I'm taking you up the ladder. We got the bracket. I'm going to show you the bracket here. I already stripped the wire a little bit further for the ground. I've got my black, white, and the copper wire out of the way. And got the 2 mounting screws up there. It's important to make sure that those mounting screws are tight. Okay? And let's say you had 5/8 sheetrock and somehow your bracket is not tight to your metal. In this case, our sheetrock's only 1/2 inch, so it's flush, it's good. If you were to notch this little section into the drywall, then it might be up just slightly too high to get that next piece in there. You know, our sensor unit. It's designed to fit up in here. That's what this notch is for. So before I get it up here, I'll have to reroute these wires, because these wires here, I believe, are going to be in the way. I'll have to slide them through that way, get the ground wire over that way, take a look at it. And remember the slot right here? I said I was going to put it on the outside of the bed, not the inside of the bed. Well, I decided I have to do it on the inside of the bed, because as I come up the ladder, I've got all the fan blades on the ceiling fan and all that. So I'm going to have to be straddling the ladder a little bit on the outside towards the bed. So I'm going to have to be like this, reaching up this way and fitting it in from that side over. Okay? So if you cut your hole a little bit too big or something, where this bracket goes, where the screw goes in, there's a slot on the bracket on both sides. I just centered it so it sticks over a little bit on both sides. Okay, but if you've got an area and you cut your drywall a little bit too much, maybe you want to slide this all the way to the right, all the way to the left. As your canopy goes up there, it's going to cover. Chances are it's going to cover anyways. The canopy's fairly big, right? But you can adjust this. You can slide it a little bit. But I would hesitate before you notch your drywall. If you have 5/8 drywall, snug this up. This mounting bracket's not going to be tight to your box, whatever kind of box it is. Okay, it doesn't have to be a pancake box. It can be a different metal box. But if the metal box is not flush with the 5/8 sheetrock, let's say, and it's inset, before you start notching, just get it tight. And then slip your sensor in here. See how much slop you have. I think you're going to find it's real tight up there. And you might not want to notch your drywall. I had a ceiling fan at my mother's house, and it was wobbling a little bit. I took the whole thing apart, tightened up everything, found out that the mounting bracket was not up tight. And it was hitting the drywall, and I thought, I'll just notch the drywall so I can suck it up there tighter, because it was slightly loose, and that was making the bracket rock ever so little, and then that was allowing the ceiling fan on high to wobble just a little bit. If I put the ceiling fan on low or medium, it wouldn't wobble. Okay, so I did that, and then I had a heck of a time putting the little sensor goodie back in there. Because if you can imagine this sensor, see this is going to fit. This notched sensor there, see how there's a groove there? Whoops. It's going to fit right up tight to the ceiling. This slips in there like that. And if you notch that to get the bracket up tighter, thinking, oh, I'll just tighten it up, no wonder it's getting loose. You might have a heck of a time sliding this in. I had to hold my mouth just right to get this pushed back in at my mother's, and it just barely fit. So, you know, you might want to take that into consideration. But so if that bracket is just fitting up against the drywall, make it as snug as you can against the drywall, because if your bracket gets loose, trust me, all it needs is a little bit, with the vibration and the ceiling fan going around and everything, eventually your screws are going to loosen a little bit more. And then that thing is going to be doing this. You know, you'll hardly even see it do that, but it could make your ceiling, it'll make your ceiling fan wobble. All right. Okay, so I got that. So now my next step is I'm going to get back up there. I'm going to hold this up there. I'm not ready to wire that up just yet. I'm still looking at it to see where the wires need to go. And if you read the directions, I thought it was kind of interesting. I might have to read it again. They were saying you might want to keep the power wires on one side of your sensor and the neutral wires on the other and the ground wire on the other, because it might interfere with your antenna, with the frequency. But it's almost impossible to do what they're trying to tell you to do, because they've already got the whites. One white is on both sides. So how do you keep both whites on one side, and how do you get the wires long enough? And then you got to wrap the wires around there, and when you get your wires with this, I like to cut these wires a little bit long, and then I'll wrap them up there, and then it's hard to keep the white wires and are not mixed up with towards the black wires. And you know, I don't know if that really does anything. I mean, I've done it without even paying attention, and the antenna seems to work fine. The frequencies seem to work fine. Because before I put this up here, here's the other thing too. When you read the directions, you'll see there's little mini teeny light switch type things in there, and there's numbers, and I see 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 of them, and they factory set it all down. And one way is 1, and down is 2. All the top is 1, and the bottoms are 2 or whatever. And you can, and they tell you, take it off the factory setting, because your remote, your handheld remote, also has a setting in there. You got to take that apart, and it will have the same thing. So then you want to change those. You might have the first 2 up, the third one down, the next one up, the next one down from left to right. However you do it. It gives you all kinds of different combinations. But and if you have the combinations set the same, then you should be able to work and turn this ceiling fan on. Make sure the combination is not fairly close to the same combination and one off from another ceiling fan, maybe in the other bedroom or something, because maybe as you're turning this one on, the other one goes on too or something. I've had that happen before, and then I had to get up there, take it all apart, and then make sure that the combination was set entirely way different than the one in the other room. And son of a gun, then everything was fine. Okay? And as for talking, since I'm talking about it, you always want to read your directions, and anything that comes in here. Here's something here I thought kind of interesting. Attention, do not use this fan with dimmer switch or variable speed wall control. Using a dimmer switch or variable speed wall control will damage the fan. So they're saying not acceptable. A variable speed wall control. Do not have one of those. Do not have a dimmer switch. Sometimes, you know, a dimmer light wall switch or a dimmer switch like this. And some, you know, they want acceptable as on and off. And if you had a switch or a paddle switch on off, all you're doing is turning the power on. It's no different than not having a switch. We got power on to this all the time. We don't need a switch. But if you had a dimmer switch, and if the dimmer switch was a dimmer switch that was set up for a light ceiling fan, then I think it would be okay. I think they're talking about a dimmer switch, which is a single pole dimmer switch for a light fixture, let's say. But I'm not sure. Years ago, I've seen ceiling fans with dimmer switches. I've seen ceiling fans with this kind. I've seen ceiling fans with little electric push buttons. You push the button and the ceiling fan makes a noise. You know, high, medium, or low, medium, high, higher, faster. And we've got one of those too. So it just depends what you have. If you got something like this, and it's set up for just light fixtures. Don't think, oh, I'll just leave that in there. You know, if you have that there and it's a dimmer switch, that was for a light fixture, something you're taking the light fixture down, you're putting the ceiling fan up there. Instead, change your wall switch to a paddle switch, a single pole paddle switch, on off, or a regular standard one, on off, like that, and that kind of thing. And speaking of, if there is a light fixture up there, can you put a ceiling fan up there? Well, you could take the light fixture down, and if the light fixture, I mean, you're gonna have to decide. Okay, you could take a picture of it. You could take it down to the hardware store. You could ask somebody. Chances are, if there's a light fixture up there, it might not be set up weight-wise for a ceiling fan. Now, sometimes smart electricians will put whatever they put up there is for either a ceiling fan or a light fixture, and that's what I would do if I was installing this from brand new house, wiring it. I would make sure that either a light fixture's up there or a ceiling fan, no problem. It's all set up for it. But if you got a 40-year-old house, 50-year-old house, chances are you may only have you might have a plastic box up there. Okay? A plastic box, depending what kind of plastic box it is. But most of them are a standard one, kind of like how I showed you how this one was. I would not hang a ceiling fan off of that in 100 years, because first off, it's plastic. The threads are plastic. Okay? It's not going to hold the weight. It's only designed to hold the weight of a light fixture. Ceiling fans are way heavier. Your ceiling fan might be up there and it might be tilted down and kind of doing this business because you got it on a plastic box, and chances are after time the screws going in from the mounting bracket going up into your plastic box threads, chances are those threads are going to come loose, and then your ceiling fan could fall down. So can you? And if it's a metal box, from years ago, old houses, they only had metal boxes. They didn't have any plastic boxes. The threads in those metal boxes for the little ears to hold your light fixture up there, the screw is only going through threads by maybe whatever thickness of the metal is. You see what I'm saying? And inspectors frown upon using something like that because they're saying that's not designed to hold the weight of a ceiling fan, because you only have this much thread. I don't care if your ceiling fan mounting screw is that long, your threads going through that metal is only that much, and that's the only thing that's holding it up there is a couple twizzles in through a threaded metal box ear. Say, I mean, at that point, you could take, if you have an attic, then I would suggest taking the plastic box out, taking the old style light fixture box out, and getting an approved ceiling fan junction box. And they have different ones. They got 2 or 3. They got the pancake box style, and they also have a different style that's on a bracket slide that you attach, that you bolt that bracket from one ceiling joist, one floor joist to the next floor joist, and then you slide this wherever the hole is, and then you tighten those screws down. If you don't have anything like that, if you want to do a pancake box, you'd have to get up in the attic and take a flat 2x6, a flat 2x4, something like that, going down tight to your drywall, screw that in through the side of both of the floor joists or something, and then mount your pancake box to that, drill a hole through that for your electrical wire, and then you could do it that way. So lots of different ways if there's an existing light fixture up there. Okay, all right, enough of that. Time for me to figure this little sensor out and how I'm gonna route my wires. I think I've got to lift my wires and pooch them in on the other side and all that kind of stuff. And then at that point, I'll get the handheld remote out here, and I'm gonna set the code. I don't know what code I'm going to set yet. I had to do the same thing in the bedroom right over here, and Hopefully I don't get it. I don't think I'll get it anywhere close to that even if I tried. But I'll have to set that because I'll have to do that before I lift that up there and get ready to wire it. Okay? One step at a time. Hey, you can do it. I know you can. Well, I can cross that one off my list. That's all I got for this time. But I'll be back with more videos.